So a little over 2 weeks ago, I released my lockdown build, which basically just allowed me and any random group to pretty much just dominate any heroic mission that we went into. I mean, it pretty much just shut down the enemy completely, as long as I was on top of my game, just making sure I was at the right angles, at the right places, at the right time. I have to actually actively pay attention to where I am to use these status effects to the greatest ability possible. Now, since then, I have actually managed to improve this build and swapped out some pieces and just made it even more powerful, made it, more reactive, made it a little bit better than it was. Alright, and I am using the gunner specialization, and that's pretty much just for the Banshee pulse, but it also does have that ammo regen, which is kind of nice. I am using a black market AK. Now, Spike doesn't really come in handy on this build, so you could use the Pestilence or something like that, but I do like having the ability just to switch out if I need like a damage skill. Again, using Everlasting Gaze with that perfect perpetuation, 50% status effect bonus, so that's obviously a very nice buff. My backup, just a Storm with the regular perpetuation on it. My mask is a China Light, and you can see I've got 3 pieces of China Light for explosive damage, skill haste, and status effects. And this one obviously has skill damage on it. I would prefer that to be skill haste because that's the most important stat, I think. Skill haste, status effect are the basically just the cornerstones of the build. So this one I used for another piece, so I need a new mask. My backpack did manage to get a slight upgrade on this one over the Acosta Go bag. Now obviously this one's got skill haste, status effect, and a skill haste mod, but it's also got wicked. And since I'm constantly applying status effects, it's just a lot more beneficial. And then you've got my chest piece, which is a Golan gear. Basically, I ended up rolling off of the armor for skill tier. I got lucky and had status effect and skill haste on this piece. So that's basically exactly what I wanted. I wish the rolls were a little bit higher, but the main thing I would like to improve is that talent. Protected reload does not really help me in this build. So there's other options that you guys can probably see that would be better for that. My gloves, Wyvern wear. I got 2 pieces of that. Obviously skill damage, status effect. My rolls on it aren't too bad. I've got 9.9% status effect and 11.6 skill haste. My knee pads, again, skill haste, status effect, and those are they're all right rolls. Again, could get a better piece. My China Light rolls aren't that great except on my holster. Perfect rolls there for skill haste and status effect. You can see here on my Firefly, I've got a 22.9 second cooldown with a 25 second blind duration. And then on my pulse, you can see 9.4 second cooldown with a 14.8 second effect duration. All right, taking a look at my Firefly mods here real quick, you can see that I'm using a skill haste, a blind effect duration, and of course I just got a max target on there. It's pretty much the best things you can get. Cone size and skill haste on my Banshee pulse. So again, there's not too much variety you can actually get on most of these skill mods, but I'm doing the best I can with them. But here you go. You can basically see this fight with Dragov where I stun locked him and basically a good majority of the enemies for about 2 minutes straight. So obviously that comes in incredibly handy. And I'm going to say this, some people might disagree with me, but from my own experiences, this is very true. A status effect build like this is incredibly more beneficial than a healer build. And the reason for this is a healer build is a very reactive type build. You have to, you only time you actually do something is basically once your allies are already taking fire and already, having to pull back and hide in cover to get healed. With a status effect build, you are better than a healer in my opinion because you don't actually have to, stop firing. You can keep applying this DPS to the enemy all the time. And what this means is you are basically more effective. You are less reactive. You're basically proactive. So you are able to actually dish out damage and fight the enemy a lot more effectively than you would be if you had a healer. And so this build, instead of being healed, it just stops you from taking that damage in the first place. So it's, I think, in my opinion, that is a much more beneficial aspect than just, having a healer build. Now, you still probably want to have a person with a heal or a person with a revive, just in case. But as it goes in, so far in the missions that I've played, I have a full, dedicated healer build, and it just feels so much better to play with a status effect build than it does with a healer build. Alright guys, that'll do it for me. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.